You're watching the 2024-25 SCAC Basketball Media Days. Today, we're taking a dive into the Southwestern University women's basketball program. Pirates will once again be led as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Kriesel-Bigler, along with leadership from senior Ellie Ward and coach Ellie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Coach, headed into year two as the head coach there of the Pirates women's basketball program at Southwestern. I'm just interested over the course of that first season, what did you learn? What was sort of the inventory that you took in at the end of that first season? And ultimately, how excited are you to be back here at the start of year two and on the precipice of a new season?
Yeah, so excited to be back and to, be with a new group and kind of get started with the excitement going through the preseason and now getting started with our first day officially. Took the excitement a little bit out of the October 15th day with the preseason 8 practice days, but still super excited to get going. I think, personally learned a lot as a first-year head coach. Making the transition between assistant to head is you feel ready for it, right? And it's always a little bit of an adjustment once you get into that seat. But incredible place to be a part of here at Southwestern. Super excited for year two. Just as a whole, I feel like from, the message in the locker room after our last game last year, a big takeaway was we couldn't skip steps of adversity a little bit, and we are going to be better for them moving forward, going into year two. So I think overall, we went through some adversity last year. We really had to kind of turn inward, and look at ourselves and learn and grow and get better, and have a growth mindset about us. And I think it's hard when you're in it to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes and say, hey, when the results aren't coming, how do we still measure our success and we're getting better and our culture's improving and all these things. So, there was a lot of positive to take away from last year, even though sometimes it was hard with some of the results, right? When you're kind of judging yourself. But the resounding message was we can't skip the steps of adversity. We've got to learn from them and get better going into next year. So that was kind of the message. But again, we've got, the excitement with this group that we have, a very young group, has been, and the energy and joy that they've brought into the gym has been incredible so far this year.
Ellie, coming into your senior season, just sort of take me through your mindset. Obviously a big year for you. How excited are you to be back with your teammates at the start of this senior year? And what are you looking forward to most as we get ready to get underway here with this 2024-25 season?
Yeah, I'm really excited. To piggyback off what Coach said, we did face a lot of adversity last year, and I'm really excited just to showcase the amount of growth that we've had just since our last game of last year. With these 10, 11 new people, it has brought a lot of challenges, but a lot of joy, I think, to all the returners. Just the energy that they bring into the room has escalated our level of play too. So I'm really excited to showcase that to everybody.
Coach, tell us a little about this group. You talked about kind of the youthful talent influx that has been brought into this program. I think I counted 9 first years in all and 14 underclassmen within this program right now. So just tell us a little about this team for the fans. What have you gotten to know, as far as their personalities here early on in these returns here through these first, few practices as you get ready to see?
Yeah, we've got a lot of big personalities, which is fun. And this group is, the freshmen don't feel like they haven't been around here, which is incredible. I think our growth from the summer and getting connected quickly, I think our upperclassmen did a really good job leadership-wise to connect with them, set a standard over the summer for what we want for this year. So I think the transition in has been very smooth for as many new people as we have to get acclimated, to feel like they're supported here and connected to the group. I'm very pleased with just how it feels like they've known each other for a long time. This group does, which is awesome. But we've got some big personalities. We have the transfer from the University of Hartford in Connecticut, who's from Frisco area, who's very offensively, very talented. So that's been fun to see her getting incorporated into the group. Some talented freshmen that just come. And, I like the young, fresh, young energy. I think my patience is going to get tested a little bit because I think they're a little bit goofier of a group than I've had in the past. So I've been trying to adapt and be flexible to that and just be patient with this this many underclassmen, right? So I'm like infinite patience, and I've got to embrace the group we have. So whatever that looks like, their strengths, I've got to adjust my coaching style a little bit to the group we have. But it's an energy, it's a lot of joy. We've talked about how much joy we felt like we've had in the gym in the preseason. That's been a different feel than years past, and just the group of freshmen, they're in the gym, they come to work every day. We've got some very mature freshmen too. I think Emma Flores is a point guard from Harlan High School. We joke she feels a lot like an upperclassman on how business-like she is, how much of a winner mentality she brings to the program. So we've added a lot of awesome pieces that I think we've needed position-wise, but also just the competitive maturity and the joy that this group has brought in with our returning class. And we have some really strong leadership. Ellie and Taylor, our two seniors, have done an incredible job at setting the tone of, every day the freshmen come and they look up to them on, here's the standard, here's what it looks like to be a part of the Southwestern women's basketball program. And that's been incredible. That's all I can ask for as a coach, right? That we have strong upperclassmen that know what it takes to play in college, right? We've got a lot of girls that haven't played a college basketball game yet, but they've done an incredible job of guiding a young group, right? A very talented group, but a young group. So it's been fun. It's been fun to learn about them, but just to see the energy level and intensity and competitiveness this group needs, that's been a hot word for us this year. We have to be more competitive and do things that contribute to winning every single day. And I think this young group has set a tone for that. That's been super needed, which has been awesome.
Ellie, you've been a big part of this program on the floor really since day one, making 64 starts in your career to this point, playing in 71 games, essentially being 10 points, 5 rebounds a night consistently for this team throughout your career. But how have you sort of seen your role change? Coach talks about the importance of leadership within a young group and mentioning how great of a job you've done in sort of taking on that leadership role. How have you seen that part of your role shift through your career coming into this senior year? And what is it that you think you can do to really help some of these younger athletes, transition as they get prepared and are certainly going to be asked to be a big part of this program coming into this season?
Yeah, honestly, last year it was hard for me. I had a lot of leadership challenges when I came in as a freshman. I was just kind of expected to take that on-court leader role, and I really didn't adjust to that until my junior year. But I tell the freshmen every day, just go with no fear and you'll be fine. Like, that's what the seniors told me when I was a freshman, and that's what helped me the most. And so I'm just really excited to get them into a spot where they can transition to their sophomore, junior, and senior year and be leaders from day one. We really emphasize leading each other and togetherness. And so as long as we go together and we go with no fear, we're going to be okay.
Coach, we talked this time a year ago about you wanting to really sort of shift, the style of play within this program and start to play with a little bit more speed. Talk a little bit about kind of the growth and that shift of this style. Where are you at as far as continuing to build that style of play? And, on the offensive side of the ball, what are you continuing to work on, especially in this preseason, focusing to try to improve things, offensively to make things a little bit easier for this going forward this year?
Yeah, I will say that's been a big part of preseason. It's one thing to want to play fast. It's another thing to be able to play fast. And we went through some growing pains with that, I would say, last year. But I do think seeing our preseason, the fitness level, the buy-in of what we've done in the strength and conditioning program in the preseason, our depth this year, I do think we're going to be able to make some strides. Our biggest thing is we have to have a better offensive identity about us. I wouldn't say we had an identity last year, offensively or defensively. So we really turned inward. I did a lot, as a coaching staff, we did a lot of research over the summer. We're teaching a lot of things that I've never done before, which is exciting, I think, in a lot of ways. But we are really trying to transition our offense to be more of we're doing more conceptual things. I think I tied our hands a little bit too much on being a little bit too, robotical with some Princeton stuff last year. We're really kind of trying to change to more conceptual offense, our emphasis on our transition. We did bring in, a couple point guards that are going to help us play in a faster style, have a little bit more depth to us, which we absolutely need if we're going to play fast, all those things. So I think personnel wise, right, we identified a few things that we need to be able to play the style we want. We've made it an emphasis in the preseason about our fitness level and doing things. And then I've been really pleased with this, and we're really talking about every day an identity about our offense. So we're gonna three hot words we've been using is play fast, play aggressive, and play together. So that's been a hot button that we've been talking about with more of our style. So yeah, I think it's gonna be, we scrimmage here in about, next Friday already. So I'm excited to kind of see it out on the court. But again, I think what we've seen in preseason so far, we've been really pleased. And we brought in some athleticism and pace, right? That we really needed from last year. So it's been fun. There's been a lot of new for even our returners, because we're changing a lot of how we're going to play offensively. But again, if we can have more of an identity to us, that's the goal for us offensively this year.
Finally, Ellie, as we wrap up with you, obviously it's an exciting year coming in, your senior season, year two with coach. The energy is very obvious just listening to the two of you talk. And so when you've had conversations with some of your other teammates, some of the leaders within your locker room about some of the goals and expectations heading into this season, what have those conversations looked like? And ultimately, Ellie, what is going to be key for this group to accomplishing those heading into this year?
Yeah, so the other senior Taylor, we've talked a lot about what we kind of want from this group, and we really just want them to go hard for us. We feel like we go out there every single day with no fear, and we tell them, hey, we're going to do this for you, you do this for us. I came into a program where the culture was very divided, and I knew I was going to play, and that was a big reason why I chose Southwestern. But as I've evolved and now I'm a senior, it's way more than that, and I'm really excited to leave this place a lot better than I found it and set a foundation for there's younger people to really escalate this program into where it needs to be.
Finally, Coach, wrapping things up with you, I think one of the great things about sport and in our arena is success can be measured in so many different ways, right? There's obviously the black and white measurements, the results, the standings, but then beyond the court, and you can hear it in Ellie's answer, and even talking to you, as at this time a year ago, and wanting to kind of establish your culture and build this program. So when you talk about success with your student athletes, what is that message that you try to deliver to them? How do you try to sort of define and shape the idea of success for your group? And ultimately, this season looks successful if what plays out here in 2024-25.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great question. I think last year our hot button word was definitely our culture, right? Establishing a culture with a coaching change, building it, having a foundation. So I think for us, our success last year a lot was our culture, like how far we came, how connected we were, how we played for each other, all those things. Like we really bought into that. And I think, at the end of the year, I think if you asked our biggest strength as a team, every single girl in our locker room would have said how strong our culture is, how that looks and feels every day, our standards, having high character people here, all those types of things was, I would say, last year. I think it's a shift a little bit. Every year is different, right? So going into year two, I think we have a little bit higher expectations from a success on the court, a competitive, like how competitive are we every single day? Can we compete in games, right? All those types of things, I would say is a little bit more of how we're going to judge our success this year. Obviously, we talked a lot about keeping the foundation of our culture, how tight knit our group is, how high character, how high our standards are for each other, for our coaches, how we hold each other accountable. All those things are going to stay the same, right? We need to keep those the same, but we also then need to turn the dial up from our competitiveness, how we kind of establish winning habits in practice. Like we are so detail oriented, and if we can have growth in that aspect, I think for us, that's how we're going to judge success for this group. And obviously I like how Ellie mentioned, playing for each other, playing for the girl next to you. Some of our seniors, Ellie's put so much into the program for 4 years, right? Sending her off. And I like how she mentioned success is, did you leave the program better than you found it? I think that's a great measurement of success for our group and for some of our players. So we talk a lot about those things, but I would definitely say a competitiveness, fire, things like that, how hungry this group is, and how we go about that every single day is a little bit of what we're trying to judge our success off of this year, and keep a strong foundation of what we built in our culture and our relationships with each other is a big part of what we do.
Southwestern University head women's basketball coach Caitlin Kriesel-Bigler, along with leadership from senior Ellie Ward. The Pirates will open up the 2024-25 campaign at home on November 9th when they take on Lewis and Clark. Coach Ellie, thanks so much for your time today. Best of luck as you head into the season.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.